radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
Welcome, everybody, to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. This is Ginny Gunther, also known as Ginny Almighty, and I'll be your host tonight, too, along with Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Phone lines are now open at 602-666-6027. That's 602-666-6027.
We'll be taking your phone calls from around the world and right here in the U.S.
Something in the sand, and if we take the pen, we can
Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. Glad you're with us. This is Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. July 11th, 2016. My time does fly. And so happy to have you with us here on another Monday. Seems like we just did this, but I know we took last Monday off because it was the 4th of July here in the United States. And so it's been 2 weeks, an accumulation of great content, information, wisdom, mailbag, all kinds of things, so we want to get right to it. Welcome, everybody, again, and for the first time, let me just introduce Dr. Carolyn Dean with you this evening, not only as a medical doctor, but also a naturopath, herbalist, acupuncturist, nutritionist, intuitive lecturer, consultant, author, inventor, capitalist, and purveyor of common sense. Oh, my gosh, that's so awesome. And so happy to have her with us. And, of course, you may recognize her from all of her books, which you know, The Magnesium Miracle. She's also been on radio, TV, magazine. She's been on, oh, my gosh, so many different things. The View, my gosh, I've seen her on television back as far as the mid-'80s in Canada. And she's got so many incredible achievements, appointments, and different things that she's accomplished in her life, the least of which is her books, the most of which is probably saving all of our lives with her incredible formulas and, again, common sense. So we're so happy to have her with us this evening. Thank you so much, Dr. Dean, for gracing us again with your amazing presence. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Yeah, the yay lets me know I've truly been received onto Achieve Radio and by Ginny and by all the listeners, so I can just rant on and on and on, which I am going to do because, yeah, it's been 2 weeks. I've got 5 blogs to mention. Then I've got 20 mailbag questions. So I don't know, Ginny. We better tell our telephoners to start tearing up the chat line if they want certain questions answered, because I have a lot to say. Okay?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, very good. So if you do want to talk, you've got to raise your hand, 602-666-6027, and hit *5. I've already got people waving their hands. All right, so hang in there because we will get to you. And then also, if you want to use the chat line as well, just notify me that you're on the line. But we're going to let Dr. Dean make her opening statements, and we'll check in and definitely put you on the phone with her. Okay, take it away, Carolyn.
Okay, Ginny's blog that went out to the folks who have registered to RNA Reset was titled Magnesium, a Natural Anxiety Reducer. Now, what Ginny did not say is magnesium a natural anxiety reliever, because it does more than relieve anxiety. It actually does reduce anxiety. And I'm not going to go over the whole email. You really should go to the Facebook page for RNA Reset or join the blog so that you can read these weekly emails. And what I want to say about anxiety and how Jenny says it can affect our lives dramatically, people are more and more stressed. Well, what happens is it's being over-medicated because you go to your doctor, you express some words that let them know you have anxiety, and there are 84 different anti-anxiety drugs that you can be prescribed. I had no idea. I mean, there are the benzodiazepines first, but they're addictive. They're only supposed to be used for short term. If you use them more than 2 weeks, you can become addicted to them. And then you end up having to take Remag in order just to withdraw yourself from the benzodiazepines. And they move on from the benzos to the SSRIs like Prozac, because they say that relieves anxiety, but the side effects from all these medications, they just escalate. And why it's being over-medicated is because it is so common, and it's a great source of income for drug companies. I mean, they say 40 million adults in the U.S. age 18 and over, which is about 18% of the population, suffer from anxiety disorders. And then, the cost of the drugs. I couldn't find a listing of the amount of prescriptions being given out for anxiety, because a lot of the prescriptions are also for depression. Okay. And, of course, with magnesium, it's a vital mineral nutrient, as Ginny says, and perhaps one of the most important natural anxiety remedies. And, we can say that, and oftentimes people will write to me and say, well, prove it. Where's your study? But you're not going to really get any research funding by drug companies who pay for most of the research funding now to study how much better magnesium is than drugs. So you be your own experiment. That's all we're asking you here every week on the radio show, is just get the Remag, try it, and prove to yourself, as so many people are doing. And the first example is actually an Amazon review where someone is writing about their autistic daughter who's been getting tremendously irritable. The mom had been giving her St. John's wort and 5-HTP, which helped somewhat. But then she gave her vitamin D, and she became worse, extremely irritable within an hour or so. And the mom says, it was then I realized that perhaps she had a reaction to the vitamin D because she was magnesium deficient. So she, seems she's been reading my information, because I'm one of the few people who talks about that reaction. She said, I'd read that vitamin D uses up magnesium in its conversion to exactive form. Some people believe that they have vitamin D side effects, which are in fact a magnesium deficiency. I immediately began supplementing with magnesium, and I noticed a substantial difference in her irritability the first day. Now she takes magnesium, and she's about 90% back to the way she used to be, and I only have to give her occasional St. John's wort or 5-HTP. And here's something, it's kind of new to me. She said, I noticed the magnesium helped her bleeding gums substantially also. I think that magnesium somehow affects the calcium and phosphorus balance in the mouth, making it less friendly to the plaque-producing bacteria in the mouth. After 2 months on magnesium, I added back vitamins A, D3, and K2. That sounds like the Blue Ice Royal, because they work together. Also some vitamin C. This helped her mood even more. And that's a thing as well. It is mostly about the magnesium, but then that paves the way to be able to, as she says, tolerate the vitamin D3 without irritability and getting the good out of the vitamin D. And she says for herself, the magnesium helps her aching joints. She says The soils are becoming increasingly more magnesium deficient. Our high sugar consumption causes loss of magnesium. Therefore, it's likely that most people need magnesium. So she gives a final mention again about the irritability. If anyone in your family is, she says, mean or irritable, see if you can't persuade them to take some magnesium. And then she, like an aside, she says, if they are truly the irritable type, they may resent your suggestions, but maybe they have some other condition that you could persuade them to take magnesium for, like insomnia or pain or heart condition, or being on meds themselves means you require more magnesium. So I thought that was a pretty good testimonial about an autistic person's irritability and using magnesium. And blog testimonial, I have it noted here, and I don't know what blog I'm referring to, but this person is saying, I love your Remag, Remite. Start taking them in January this year and noticed a difference right away. My daughter was in a head-on collision in August. She miraculously walked away without serious injury, but had PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. She was taking a pill form of magnesium. She's an ER nurse and was triggered at work by all the other accidents she was dealing with, all the other patients in accidents. She did a type of treatment known to help PTSD. It helped somewhat, but she tried to Remag in January, and after just one dose, she felt so much calmer. She said it was like her nerves had been on edge all the time, and then suddenly they were relaxed. She felt like she could deal with crises so much more easily. It was a night and day difference. So, yes, that's what Remag can do for anxiety and even PTSD. And actually, there was a question that just came in today about that, so I'll get to that. The next one, here it is. I was wondering how stress and post-traumatic stress disorder are related to magnesium deficiency. Well, when you're under severe stress, you lose magnesium, and you need to put that back in your body, basically. Also, how does heavy drinking, prescription drugs, even those prescribed for depression, have an effect? Now, I talk about this all the time, so they all drain it. Magnesium Miracle Book, I have a section on alcohol and how people who have had trauma when they're drunk suffer worse symptoms, I think, because of their magnesium deficiency, but it's in there. She says the seem to me soldiers are in some of the most stressful situations on the battlefield and must have some magnesium deficiency. They suffer so much, and the government's answer is more drugs. Yes, and I've talked many times about, especially in the Middle East and hot climates, they sweat out so much of their minerals that their shirts, when they dry, they just stand up with the weight of all the minerals. They have to beat out the minerals before they wash their clothes. Also, over the years, I've been requested several times to give information about magnesium for programs that people want to implement for veterans, and I say just use magnesium. And I harp and harp and harp. I don't spend too much time on these projects because they never pan out. Never. If you want veterans to benefit from Remag, donate some bottles to a local shelter. It's not going to happen through the government, I'm afraid. So that's Ginny's blog. Any comments, Ginny, before I go on to my blogs?
No, I think that's a very good treatment of that whole presentation. I just wanted to say that What is really bugging people, too, Carolyn, is the inundation of information coming through, the Android meme and stuff, and people have to take care of themselves, exercise, meditate. What do you have to say about those kinds of things?
Right, yes. I had a call yesterday, I think it was, someone trying to sell me a newspaper. We'd like to deliver our newspaper. I said, I don't read newspapers. All they have is bad news that makes people stressed. So why would I want to do that? And you can just stop reading newspapers, stop watching the news on TV, use forms of accessing your TV that don't involve commercials, and you can reduce your stress that way. So yes, it's true. Very good, Ginny. You have to be very active about reducing your own stress. And, don't feel bad about it. You're not missing out on anything. If you don't hear the news, you're just usually missing out on the propaganda that's being foisted on you. Okay, so I will go to my blog next. Yeah, thanks, Ginny. Now, this was a cool one. The Desalinated Water Without Magnesium is Deficiency blog. I mean, this was just awesome to me. I know about this study and the researcher behind it because he was at the special magnesium experts meeting that I attended last January 2015, and he talked about this. And actually, for a few years prior, Michael Schechter was talking about, Dr. Michael Schechter, about Israel in their desalinated water project were considering supplementing their DSW, desalinated water, with magnesium. And he was just so excited, and he'd been consulting with them and, supporting it. And then come to find out at this January 2015 meeting that they didn't do it. Who knows why, but they just didn't do it. And the other day, Michael emailed us in the group, only a dozen of us, the announcement about his scientific paper where he showed that desalinated seawater causes increased acute myocardial infarction in patients. Now, he had been doing this survey from 2002, and that's probably when the desalinated water situation came to the fore. And he just basically showed in one area where they drink desalinated water with no magnesium compared to another area where they use normal, tap water with the normal amounts of magnesium, they found an increased mortality rate in the desalinated water. And this is really important because if you look at the water you're drinking, it's going to be filtered. You usually have a kitchen filter as well. You're taking out magnesium. And if you're doing that, you have to replace your magnesium in supplemental form. So it's a huge breakthrough, this information. I'll have to Google around and see if it made the headlines in America. Probably not. But, it's just vitally important that people understand that their drinking water is supposed to be where we're getting our supply of magnesium and other minerals. And if we don't have magnesium in our water, then and we don't have magnesium in our food, those are two strikes against our magnesium intake. Let's see if I don't think I had too much input on that blog. I mean, a lot of people emailed me and thought it was, incredible and passed it around. The next one was, or one of them was Total Body Meltdown. Now, this I started developing this notion of total body meltdown after I was reading a book on the thyroid, hypothyroid, and specifically Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and it's written by a 27-year-old pharmacist who, at the time she was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, she was having dozens of other symptoms. And instead of calling it a total body meltdown, she just called it all Hashimoto's and said that IBS is associated with it, yeast is associated, and low adrenal glands associated, leaky gut. So she ended up talking about everything that we know is causing people problems these days, the chronic symptoms that people have, but she kept it under this Hashimoto's title. And each chapter, when she wrote about the adrenals, here's the 20 supplements you could take for adrenals, and for the gut, here's another 20 supplements. And they cross-react. Some of the supplements are in all categories, but not much about magnesium was said. Just the old hackneyed expression of it being a laxative. So I just kind of hit the roof, and I said, okay, that's it. From now on, I'm just talking about total body meltdown. I'm going to write a book on it and call it Total Body Meltdown When Nothing Works and Everything Hurts. Reach for the completement formulas. So what I've been talking about over the years is I'm not trying to sell you dozens and dozens of supplements for this little symptom or that little symptom. What we're trying to do here is give you a complete system, treatment protocol that will just help everything. It'll automatically just help everything, because once you have one set of symptoms, and I described this since 1988, I've been writing about this downward spiral of health where you start getting your vaccinations and your immune system is weakened. You get antibiotics. You start getting yeast overgrowth, and that starts irritating you, so you get allergies, and on and on and on. It's just so obvious, and Ginny hears it in customer service. I hear it every day in emails I get from people where, they've got hypoglycemia and allergies and chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, low thyroid, adrenal fatigue, early menopause, overgrowth of yeast, leaky gut, IBS, perhaps estrogen dominance as well, even ADHD. So all I'm saying, I'll never change my my focus away from telling you that Remag is the best form of magnesium to take. It's a unique 60,000 parts per million concentrate, stabilized magnesium ions, and it works synergistically with the Remite, which supports all your hormones. And then we're going to be adding the Restructure Meal Replacement very soon. Our Realign and RNA drops are very important to detoxify and make new cells. So it's about always looking at the total picture, not just saying, oh, I have this symptom, what vitamin can I take for that symptom? Let's just look at the whole picture. So that's my total body meltdown. A testimonial that came in from that, or a comment, someone said, yes, I like your very direct way of approaching this topic. We've been on, I guess he and his partner have been on completement formulas for a year and a half, and it's like we're getting younger while our peers are sliding down that slippery slope towards unwellness. Believe me when I tell you, it's not for my lack of preachy advice So he's saying that they're just not taking his advice. So, and that's another thing that I do is I just work with people who want to be worked with. I'll work with people if they show the capacity to want to change and to want to get better. Or in the case of the RNA drops, to just intuitively realize, okay, that's what's going to help me. Just another couple of comments here on that blog before I turn back to Ginny for a minute. Oh, yes, Kathy, this is a woman. She's blind, and she's so active. I mean, she rides her bicycle. She's so awesome. So she said to my Total Body Meltdown, she says, my medical group wants to come to my house to do a wellness assessment in the comfort of my own home. Woohoo! My goodness, isn't that just peachy? For the last month or so, a clerk from the group is calling twice a week to leave this wonderful invitation, which sounds more like a command rather than an invitation. The tone of her voice is frustrated and a bit puzzled because I'm not returning the call, and I'm not jumping on this amazing opportunity to feel special and to have someone come and assess me. If I continue to resist, I'm not sure what penalties will come my way. She said she moved over to this plan. She's going to move back. And I responded to her and just said, I call it home harassment. So that, I guess, what I realized is in that, no, it was in a different blog she responded to. The blog she's responding to is The Unlucky Years. And that title is related to a book that I looked at called The Lucky Years, How to Thrive in the Brave New World of Health. And I'd say it's a book that presents a utopian view of health data mining that will be used by allopathic medicine to promote more drugs and more medical procedures. As the author states, data is becoming one of the most powerful healthcare tools around, helping to generate a staggering volume of new knowledge and technologies in medicine. And get this, he says, scientists are developing drugs to reverse once fatal ailments such as heart disease and figuring out how to harness a person's immune system to melt away cancer. Now, as so many of you know who've had near-fatal heart disease, that's BS. The drugs that they use for heart disease make it worse. And, I'm just very sarcastic about the author living in some alternative universe where he actually believes what he's saying. And to make my point, I quote a report that's MSN Network and a lot of people reported on the 50 most dangerous drugs on the market. And this was a 10-year research survey. They identified 150 drugs with the highest number of adverse reactions, published the first 50. Now, what I did is I just wrote down and totaled up the number of reported side effects on the first 15. So I did 10% of the drugs, and already there was 1.24 million reports of side effects. And they said the percentage of serious side effects was 75%. So, I mean, that's, 12.4 million people are reporting side effects if you look at all 150. Now, that's just insane. And I say it's even worse because only about 4% of drug side effects are even acknowledged by doctors, and even less are reported. So the true numbers are just so enormous, and they're being swept under the rug. It's like McLuhan said, the big secrets are protected by public incredulity. So that is that blog. And yes, I end that blog saying, fortunately, there's the 1% of the population that's turning to natural medicine, and I don't even think it's that many. I just rounded it out. It's probably more like 0.01% turning to natural medicine solutions. So it is only a handful of people that are getting the message, and I've been gathering the information for over 40 years, and you just have to study that and use your common sense, your intuition, and do your own experiment and start the complement formulas, and then you too can report how much better you feel. So that's 3 blogs, and yeah, I think there was 4. The other one, cholesterol drug has no effect on heart health. And you really have to read this. And you can read all these blogs. They're just sitting there at drcarolyndean.com. And this is a new breakthrough cholesterol-lowering drug that's stunned the researchers with its ineffectiveness. So I'll move on now because I've had my half hour at you. And actually, after one of these blogs, probably the unlucky years, someone emailed me and gave me a list of all the other doctor blogs and newsletters that he unsubscribed from. And he said, thanks always for your advice. You can only have one doctor, and you're it.
Oh.
So, actually, I will just continue on a minute here. Ginny, it's another overview of magnesiums, actually. Someone wrote in today. My question would be, what type of magnesium should I take, and what's the dosage? And I had customer service write back and say, Remag, and here's the book that explains why. And why it's important to have a magnesium that has no laxative effect, it's 100% absorbed at the cellular level, is so you can get therapeutic amounts, because people are suffering total body meltdown, and they need therapeutic amounts of magnesium to overcome it. A new magnesium product that came to my attention is something called HydroMag. And this is just, in a sense, to compare the different magnesiums out there with ours. HydroMag is $49.99. There are 30 doses of magnesium. Each dose is 150 milligrams. So that's $50. If you just take one dose a day of 150 milligrams, it might last you a month. But 150 milligrams, when I first started my magnesium therapy, I needed 1,000 milligrams. So that the HydroMag would last me 3 days, and probably after the second dose, I'd have the laxative effect. So in the $50 bottle of this product, there's 4,500 milligrams total of magnesium. Remag, which is probably 10 times better absorbed than HydroMag, has 48 teaspoons, 300 milligrams each, and it's 14,400 milligrams. And I'd like to just multiply that by 10 and say, actually, it's 144,000 milligrams of therapeutic magnesium compared to 4,500 of this HydroMag. And the HydroMag, it's aimed at triathletes. So people take, the company takes this to conferences where athletes do their triathlons, and has a booth and says this is designed for fast absorption. They say it's chelated, and I've talked about that many times, how it really does not change the laxative effect. It still has a laxative effect. There are a lot of words in there, promos that sounded like they came from Magnesium Miracle, but anyway.
Hey, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Our neighbor he runs about 100,000 miles a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he discovered you a couple of years ago, and I just noticed he left you a message. He's on the board, and again, he says, I'm still taking that magnesium. Like, he discovered your product, and I think he was killing himself, wasting away. But here's a guy who has a very comfortable life and has the time to run incredible. He runs half around Maui, right?
Yeah.
Incredible what he does.
Yeah.
And when I used to see him, he was sweating and plodding along when he was coming back. But he's all better with the magnesium. So you have a real fan right here in your neighborhood.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about him. So yes, what's going to be difficult for this Hydromag group is that if they're trying to take enough to replace their losses and they get taking 3 and 4 doses a day, they're going to have the laxative effect in the middle of their run. They're going to get the run in the middle of their run, right? And it's interesting too because they've jumped onto the magnesium RBC as the test to get, and they go on about you should get tested with magnesium RBC testing, and they offer the test. They say you can sign up with us and get it. They're selling the test for $220.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, we just send people out of the goodness of our hearts to request a test, and it's $49. It does not cost $220. So it's a total. I mean, they're focusing on these athletes. Athletes like Bob says, a lot of these athletes have money to spare to work apply their trade, but they're being totally ripped off. And that's, I don't often put down products by name, but this really struck me as being, quite an marketing and advertising focused on athletes and a bit of a ripoff.
Wow.
So, yeah, I turn it back to you, Jenny.
Okay, welcome. Well, excellent rundown, Carolyn, of everything. We've only got about another 20 minutes in this hour, and then we'll go into the next hour, but we've got some phone callers, so let's put those on the line. 602-666-6027 is the number. *5 on your keypad will put you on the phone with Dr. Dean in the order that you came in. I also see some questions on the chat line. We'll do those too. No panicking allowed. Okay, let's go to area code 310. That's out in the great state of California. Carolyn, you're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, I'm Jude McGee, and I wanted to ask you about my husband who suffers from a tremor in his left hand, and he's been examined by everybody, and it's not any of the usual suspects. I'm wondering if you can recommend.
Jude, they don't call it familial tremor?
No, they didn't call it anything, actually. He saw a neurologist, and Babe, who else did you see? What are some of the doctors? His regular doctor, his heart doctor.
Yeah, it's okay. I understand, and a lot of people go through that when they have symptoms that can't be identified. Then we go right to the nutrients. And the thing about tremors is that it can be partly muscular, and partly the nervous system, and it can be an irritation from toxins or any number of things.
He's a very healthy guy, and he has a lot of energy, and he works full time, even though he's 72. He has a lot of joy. He loves his grandkids, plays with. You know what I mean? It's not like he doesn't have any bad aspects.
Well, what I would say is just start the Remag and try it to see if the nervous system or the muscular system is irritated and irritable from lack of magnesium and just causing that little bit of tremor. We've had many people tell us that the magnesium, the Remag helps their tremor. So It's worth a try. There are no side effects. As I've been saying, there's no laxative effect with it. So do that. The Remite would be helpful as well, but you might just try the Remag first to see what that does first, okay?
I just ordered both of them. Is there a particular dosage, or is that on the bottle, or what?
It's on the bottle as well as an insert that Ginny sends out with each package, and you can send your email right now, Jude, to her at support@rnareset.com, because even before the minerals arrive, we like people to be drinking enough water and putting some sea salt in the water, because it's a lot of dehydration symptoms can mimic mineral and magnesium deficiency. So we tell people to get well hydrated and use sea salt or Himalayan salt. So email her at support@rnareset.com, and she'll send you the guidelines right away, okay?
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, and keep in touch, because a lot of people have tremor or familial tremor or essential tremor. It's just, all those words just mean they don't know what to call, what it's from, or what to call it.
He just told me that they did call it essential tremor.
Right. And it's just something that, they rule out all the horrible things, and they say, well, now you just have to live with it. And it's only because they never learned about magnesium and minerals in medical school. And I was fortunate because I studied naturopathy as well, and with my own magnesium deficiency, learned the importance of it. So keep in touch and let us know how he does with it. And you should take it too, okay?
I was planning to. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye. Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Excellent. Let's press on to area code 484, the great state of Pennsylvania. You're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, Ginny, Bob, Doctor. This is Casey. I called you a couple of weeks before.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Doctor, I bought your RNA drops and the Remag. The drops from the bottle, it was very tough to get it out, so I bought a separate dropper for it. Then I realized that the dropper drops are much bigger than the regular drops from the bottle. So is that okay for me to take still 2 bigger drops of it?
Yeah, let's get Ginny to answer that, because she, at customer service, what are people doing about the thicker RNA drops, Ginny?
Yeah, I mean, basically all you have to do, Casey, is just thin it out. When you get to that more bottom part of the bottle, you can thin it out with a couple drops of water, or a little bit of 1 or 2 drops of Remag. Water is kind of preferable, but the great thing is it's still super concentrated. It just extends your bottle. You actually get more drop because of the concentration of it. So it's actually turning out to be a pretty exciting thing.
Oh, good. Okay.
So you could take your sample bottle, pour half of it into another bottle, and then fill up the sample bottle with some clean water. I don't know if, maybe filtered water or some boiled water or distilled water, just to, make sure it's clean water, and then shake it up, and that'll thin it out, and it'll make it last longer. Because, we're just giving you exactly what comes out of the tank. We start with 141 pounds of barley, and then that germinates for a couple of days, and then we squish it, and you're getting that liquid. So whatever's produced, you're getting. We're not going to thin it out at our end, but you can do it at your end. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, Doctor. Doctor, then I'm so much addicted to your show. Last week you didn't add the show, so I started going back all the previous shows and stuff. And you mention all the time that with Remag, I bought Remag too. So I told you before that I was taking the Jigsaw Magnesium.
Yeah.
So I stopped that one and started taking complete Remag. And you mentioned many times that it's better to have the Himalayan salt with that in the water for the minerals. I have a question about that. I take other supplements. I buy my supplements from Longevity, from Dr. Valak's site. He has something called Tangerine, which has 60 minerals and vitamins in it. I'm regularly taking that. I really like that one. So is that good enough, or still you will recommend to put Himalayan salt in the water with the Remag?
Now, I missed what... if it's just a multiple, it's not going to have the 72 minerals in it. You know, what you're doing, getting out of the sea salt is all the minerals that we should be getting in our water supply and that should be in the soil and should be in the plants. And
so it's better to have, So it's better to have the salt. Okay, doctor. Then, sorry, doctor, I'm trying to get it as quick as possible. Is it distilled water good? Because
no.
I was going... No, okay.
No.
So spring water...
And why isn't it good, Casey? Why isn't it good? Because it's empty of minerals. And the water itself, in going through your body, will pull out minerals. It'll do the opposite. And, you know, people say it's a cleaning, it's detoxing. No, we weren't meant to drink distilled water.
Oh, that's wonderful, doctor, because I was going through so many videos about it, and I was in a 50-50. I don't know whether it's good or bad, so that's good. I had like one gallon of distilled water like 1 month before. Then after that, I was worried, so I changed everything to spring water. And I bought pH meter and ppm meter from Amazon. Really, I was drinking tap water all these years, and when I put that one and when I saw the parts per million, I was so shocked, and that's why I started buying water. So spring water is the one which I'm mixing with Remag. Doctor, I have one quick thing. It's nothing to do with your product. Is Bob always cheerful and laughing like when you met him from day one, or is this effective because of RNA drops?
Actually, when we first met, 50 years ago, he would have 1 day a week when he would decide that he'd worry about something, and he did that very consciously. But
no, I'd be bugged by something.
He'd be bugged by something, and he would, you know, he would let me know. Just 1 day a week. I mean, I'm kind of joking, but I think since the RNA drops, he is much. Well, he was 95% cheerful before, and now he's 100% cheerful.
It's a plus thing, Bob. I'm not saying anything wrong because you are amazing. You know, you are really laughing. Even if it doesn't cure anything for me, if I can laugh like that, I know I can cure myself. One last thing, doctor. I heard your all the previous recordings and stuff. A lot of people, some people they complain. Even you read that email and stuff. And before getting into your product, I just put my Sherlock Holmes cap and I did a small research. I thought of sending this email to you. Then I realized that it's better for me to come online and say it live. I really believe that what you are saying is everything is right. A lot of people, supplement people, they set up their own customer service and they do things like this to sell the product. but I really can feel what you are saying, Ed, and your good intention. And plus, moreover, Ginny is so great. I cannot believe that she should have done some kind of radio hosting before, because she's so good. And if you have to set up all these things, your product should be selling at $200 a bottle. So that's a plus point. And I have a lot of questions, Doctor. I don't want to, repeat everything. So every week I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Thank you so much, Ginny, Doctor, and Bob.
Hey, Jesse.
Thanks, Casey.
It's really easy to have a sunny disposition. I already had one, but Carolyn has a sunny disposition. We've been laughing for 50 years, so it's real easy living with Carolyn.
No, that's sweet.
Wonderful, Bob. That's great.
Okay, Casey, we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, that was wonderful. How sweet. Now, Carolyn, let's go to our very good friend that we haven't talked to in several weeks. I was wondering about her today. Hello, Kendall.
Hey, y'all.
Hey. Hey, girl. What's up?
All right, so let me break it down for you. The reason why you haven't talked to me is because I almost forgot that I had palpitations. That's how long it was since I had one. And then they came back.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong.
Well, you tell me. I mean, you know enough now to say to yourself, what extra stress, what did I eat, what did I cut back on my Remag? You know why. You tell me why.
Well, I guess the question for me is, I think, I'm starting to feel like I'm linking everything together. Like, maybe what's stuck in my Remag is my female problems, because I remember when we were talking about me bleeding a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe they're looking into now to see if I have fibroids or if I have uterine cancer or endometrial. They're doing all of those tests now. So maybe that was the source of what's going on with me, because I bled literally for over 30 days. And then I guess towards the end of it, that's when the palpitations started coming back. That's the only thing I can link it to.
Well, think about that. Let me hang on there. I mean, think about what you just said. You just, in one little sentence, you said, well, they're telling me I may have uterine cancer, endometrial, this or that, fibroids, I bled for 30 days. You just went through massive stress, and it took 30 whole days for your palpitations to come back. I mean, that's what it is. And, it's stressful going to all these doctor's appointments and putting up with, what
She went to a doctor.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, no, but you stop that, Bob. If you were bleeding for 30 days from your penis, then you'd go to a doctor.
Well, you would call you first.
Oh, yeah.
I'd email you.
Oh, right.
Well, you know what? And I did that, Bob. And I did that. And so I did order the bioflavonoids, and I ordered the vitamin C. That was my next question, is how long do you think I'll have to take that before I start seeing results?
Well, if it hasn't helped, within a couple of weeks, then it is, it's probably a fibroid. Haven't they been able to see that on their ultrasound?
No, I have to go for that. I haven't gone for it yet. I have to schedule an appointment for it.
Right. It's probably a fibroid. That's the most common thing. You look for the most common thing first. And it stretches, it stretches the inside of the uterus and stretches out the blood vessels, and they leak. And, we'll have to figure out what to do after they find that, if they'll do fibroid surgery or whatever. But, I mean, that's massive stress. Here you are, or you were an anxious, worried person, and then things cleared up, and then all of a sudden, this pops up, and it's enough to bring your anxiety back.
Yeah. And it was crazy, too, because I think I was more disappointed that I felt it after not feeling it for so long. I think that if I would have had the palpitations the whole time through, I probably wouldn't have been as devastated. But you can ask Kenny, he felt so bad for me. He was just looking at me like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, I did so good for so long.
Yeah.
So,
I know. Yeah, yeah, and I'll look at the glass half full and say, oh my gosh, you lasted for 30 days with all that stress, and they didn't, for them to come back after 30 days. So just keep doing what you've been doing, and try to be positive, and just figure that, let's get this fibroid situation sorted out while you're young, and onward we go.
Mhm. Do you think it's anything I can eat, or like anything I can bring to the table to like shrink fibroid?
Not so much. They talk about the estrogen progesterone balance, but first of all, you got to get in there and get your ultrasound to find out if that's the case, how large it is, and work from there. But it's the muscle, the muscle of the uterus just enlarges, and it may enlarge because of a hormonal situation, but, you can't, what I say to people, look, if you've got something that can be surgically removed that will make your life better, then let's move toward that. I never counsel people to avoid surgery at all costs. I mean, that's just not right. You take advantage of surgery when you need it. Just like I say to people, get your colonoscopy, because that's the way to find out if you've got polyps. Okay. So, yeah, keep us posted, Kendall. I'm sorry about the bleeding. You'll be better.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
We'll be back, everybody. Just hang in there a second.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
And the gravity of our blood changing, in what way is this an improvement?
Negative pH changes the specific gravity that allows those cells to embrace that blood, which changes that cell to the perfect blood of the Lamb, without stain or blemish. Perfect. Lilu, 10th element.
And the blood of the Lamb, did this come about, the perfect blood of that Lamb, did it come about because of the environment the Lamb lives in?
No, the Passover.
The actress in the movie The Fifth Element, she had the same blood as blood of the Lamb?
Yes, 144,000 double helix strands. Perfect.
So a negative pH will change our blood to that of the blood of the Lamb, and that's where we're moving toward.
Negative pH doesn't. It changes the specific gravity, so your blood can become a 10.
AchieveRadio.com.
We return now live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with your host, Ginny Gunther, here on AchieveRadio.com. Skype us at ar.call.in. That's ar.call.in.
Everybody, welcome back. Hour 2 of Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean this evening. Thanks to all of our callers that make our radio program so special. And thanks, of course, to Dr. Dean and her lovely, lovely companion of many years and husband, Bob. We do have a great show, everybody, and it's just such a wonderful source of inspiration to hear that something's working, people are getting better, there is a cure, there is a remedy, there is a standard against the toxicity, the pollution, and everything of the world. You don't have to take all that on. You can use your complement formulas and use your mind and your will and your intent for positive expectation and have a very delicious and rich, satisfying life. So we're so happy that you're joining us this evening. Tell your friends about the show. Listen to the archive again. Listen to Dr. Dean's 24-hour-a-day We run it on Studio D here at achieveradio.com. I'm serious as a heart attack. If you're feeling like you don't know what's going on, you don't feel good, turn into the show and just take in some more information. But more than anything, take in the confidence, take in the positivity, take in the joy of knowing that your body is an absolute miracle, and it can and will instantly, absolutely, emphatically repair itself every single time without fail or exception if you give it some very basic building blocks, including the complement formulas that we offer here. So welcome back, Dr. Dean. Let's take a couple questions from the chat line, Carolyn, and then we will press on with that absolutely overflowing mailbag. How does that sound?
Okay, let's go.
All right, very good. All right, so first question was, hello, Dr. Dean. This is from Maria. I've been taking Remag for 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks maybe, and I haven't seen any difference. I have anxiety, depression, fatigue, insomnia, vivid dreams, and no libido. Okay, Maria. All right, Carolyn.
Well, just wait another half week and it'll all come back to you. Now, yeah, we're kind of chuckling away because you've heard enough already on the show about people who've improved. Even our lovely Kendall, she was a basket case, and she matter of asking you, how much are you taking? Are you hydrated and taking your sea salt or Himalayan salt in your water? Do you have medications that you have to overcome, therefore needing more Remag? Did you go up slowly on it? There's a lot going on. Read the Remag book or type into the chat and just, like Jenny said, start listening to the archives, and you'll come across your answer. Read the section in the Remag book, When Magnesium Makes Me Worse. It certainly doesn't make people worse, or in your case, if you don't think it's making a difference, then really look at the factors for magnesium deficiency and the symptoms. I've got 100 factors. And you may not realize that you're sleeping a little bit better, or you're not as jumpy, or you may ask someone close to you if you seem different. You could be better in some respects, but you're just so anxious about wanting to get rid of your anxiety that that's all you're focused on, and other things are improving. But hang in there. If you've been deficient in magnesium for years, then it does take some time to build up your stores. But I imagine it's mainly because you're not hydrating and you're not taking enough Remag.
Yes, and Clara follows up as this different person, but says, how much Remag should a person start with if they have severe anxiety and stress? And, of course, the starting position is the same. It's just how do they know that they've reached their maximum dose, Carolyn?
Well, we have that all written out as well. The therapeutic doses are 2, 3, and maximum that people have gone to is about 4 teaspoons. I have a few people who are on more. But if you're going that far, if you're up to 4 teaspoons, you have to make sure you're on your salted water, and make sure you're also taking Remite, and make sure you're getting your 600 milligrams of calcium a day in your diet. And, there's a balance you have to reach. You cannot treat magnesium as if it were a drug where you just keep taking it at the exclusion of all else. And on the label and on the instructions and guidelines that Ginny's written out, it says to start with 1/4 teaspoon in a liter of salted water and sip it through the day, because you slowly want to rev up your 700, 800 enzyme systems. And if someone's already anxious and you start revving things up too fast, then you might misinterpret the waking up as, feeling a little more anxious, and we don't want that. So I think that answers that, yeah.
Yep. Kit typed in, Carolyn, I can only tolerate about 12 drops of Remag a day. or then I get a headache. 1 or 2 drops of Rheem might give me a headache. I tried to work up slowly to a teaspoon, but got terrible headaches and a laxative effect. What's going on? Can you tell me? Thank you.
And is that the person who's been taking it for 3.5 weeks and hasn't seen a difference?
No, this is a different person.
Is this a third person?
Yeah, third person.
Okay. What's her name so I can keep track?
No problem. Kit, K-I-T, Kit.
Kit, okay. Well, that's, what do we say, like 1 in 100 people, Kit, are so toxic that they have to go even slower than certainly the quarter teaspoon. A quarter teaspoon is 30 drops. So the 10 drops, that's 2.5 milligrams of magnesium a drop, so it's 25 milligrams. That's therapeutic at the cellular level. So go back to 5 drops. Go as low as you need to make sure that you're not getting detox symptoms that either debilitate you or bother you in any way. If you take 2 or 3 drops, I'm not going to be able to find the testimonial right this minute, but I have someone who I told her to do that, just start with 1 drop, and she didn't, she thought it was crazy, what was 1 drop going to do? But she said, it took her a couple of months, but she's up to therapeutic doses now, and glad that she had the patience to do that. You are not having a side effect to Remag. It's not affecting you. The mineral is not negatively affecting you. What is happening is it's dumping toxins, and then those toxins are circulating. So you have to make sure you're hydrated. You have to make sure your bowel movements are regular, even, increase your bowel movements. As you say, you're getting some diarrhea when you take a little more than that. Yes, your body wants to get rid of these toxins, but, just read all you can about the Remag, listen to the archives, and kind of understand where you fit into the picture, and just be patient and go slowly and slowly increase your amounts. And then there's putting it on the skin, too, that we, in customer service, we revert to as well, where you just spray a few drops on your skin and see if that attenuates the detox. Or put the drop, in some food. Eat it directly with your food, and that'll slow it down as well.
Very good. Yes, Carolyn, the topical use is really good. People have a great response to that. So that's a good way to mediate the situation, absolutely. We get a lot of good reports on that. Okay, this is from our good friend Sam. Greetings, Dr. Dean, Ginny, and Bob. I have been wondering if there are any reasons or theories pertaining to what causes can contribute to magnesium deficiency other than a lack of magnesium in the soil and poor diet. Could yeast overgrowth and other intestinal dysfunctions contribute to the lack of magnesium absorption causing depletion? And is this been verified in any of your research?
Yes, I've written about this. Yes, of course. Just Google my name and yeast. Magnesium helps to detoxify the acetaldehydes that are part of the yeast byproducts. So it's used up in that regard, and there are 178 different yeast byproducts, and they all have to be detoxified. So it puts a great strain on the liver and on magnesium stores. So I think I wrote about that in Magnesium Miracle. I certainly wrote more about it in my my next update, and that's where I say, I think it was in the meltdown, the total body meltdown. I say yeast overgrowth and mineral deficiencies are the major foundational causes of chronic disease, and that's what I'm focusing on. So, yes, you're right, Sam.
Excellent, Carolyn.
Excellent.
Yep.
Excuse me, Ginny. I just went over to Judge. Headline: A slow catastrophe, that's in quotes, unfolds as the golden age of antibiotics comes to an end. Now, have we seen that kind of headline for many times over the last few years?
In my blogs, I blog about that like every 6 months.
So somebody even more in the world of science is saying this.
Yeah, and what they're doing partly when you see headlines like that really coming to the fore, it's because they have another solution. You know, they come up with different drugs, or they're going to push vaccines, or they're going to push genetic testing where they can test you for the right drug. So, again, it's all...
So my ability to read did me in again.
Yeah.
I wish I couldn't read. I mean, I read that. Look, I got fooled, Jenny.
Very good, Bob. Very good.
Yeah. But I'm laughing.
Okay.
Don't worry, Jesse. I'm still happy.
Okay. Garrison in Kansas called in or typed in. He just learned also that Quest Diagnostics do the magnesium RBC test, so that's in addition to request a test. The other's also any lab testing. So there's a couple different options now. They're all very wonderful places so far.
Yeah, they'll jump in, you know, request a test, and I think there was a second one I've written about occasionally. They'll all jump in because they're losing business. I mean, this is a huge business, online testing. So darn right they should jump in, just like if everybody's jumping on the magnesium bandwagon. And, you know, anyway, enough about that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, very good. All right, let's go to, so Les, I'm a 65-year-old male and have been diagnosed with cerebellum ataxia. Apart from imbalances and walking problems, I have problems writing or even holding a pen in my hand. Any suggestions as to what may help?
Well, cerebellum ataxia, I don't know. It's another one of these conditions where they'll just say we don't know what's causing it. You know, they don't have a definitive reason. And, you know, when that... I'm just typing as I'm writing. Usually I can do both. When they say we don't know the cause, then we just take over. We just say, okay, then let's just do the completement formulas. Let's do the realign to detoxify whatever is irritating the brain, because I just looked it up. They talk about cerebellitis. Itis is inflammation, and inflammation is too much calcium and lack of magnesium. It can also be, you know, toxins. You know, if you have mercury fillings, for example, that could be causing an inflammation. So if it were me, I would just be taking the completement formulas, the realign to detox, the RNA drops to make new cells. The REMAG, it's so well absorbed, it gets right into the brain and helps to detoxify. And the REMITE is very important for the immune system, which is going to be irritated by the inflammation. So, yeah, the more they say they don't know the causes, the more we can do our best work.
Very good.
They're not going to give people drugs for that, right?
Right, exactly.
When they don't have something to drug, you know, well, they'll drug the headaches and the different things that people may get. But, you know, when you look at the symptoms, let's see what they tell us about the symptoms. Impaired coordination, stumbling, unsteady gait, uncontrolled repetitive eye movements, slurred speech, vocal changes, headaches, personality changes, dizziness. I mean, all those things, they sound kind of untreatable, but those are all symptoms that we've heard people just taking our REMAG that improves. And certainly when you take all 4 completement formulas, you can get improvement on very severe symptoms. And, of course, you know, we can't say it's going to cure cerebellum ataxia, and you've already been probably told there is no cure. But we're just saying you'll improve your health in general by doing the complement formulas, and who knows, it may help the underlying condition as well. So there.
Very good. Excellent. Pat writes in, do you have any idea why I can't take any alcohol at all? Or I immediately suffer from AFib attack even though I take Remag and Remite 3 teaspoons a day. What makes alcohol so lethal to me?
Probably yeast overgrowth. If you have yeast overgrowth, then you're going to be producing alcohol from the yeast. And as soon as you drink more alcohol, you're doubly drunk. I mean, it sounds bizarre, but look into yeast overgrowth, look at the Dr. Crook's long questionnaire, look at all the symptoms there, put yourself on a yeast treatment protocol. That's the most likely cause.
Okay, excellent.
What about the Realign? Taking Realign.
Oh, yes, Bob, you're right. Yes, the Realign is very important when you have alcohol symptoms because it helps to detoxify the alcohol, but not that you should take a Realign just to drink alcohol, but it indicates that your metabolic breakdown pathways aren't working as well and they need to be supported with Realign.
Very good. Dave in Denver, I'm a 63-year-old male with a history of coronary artery disease. My doctor recently diagnosed a quote-unquote slight hypothyroid condition, prescribed a low dose of levothyroxine.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, okay, you know what it is.
Levothyroxine, right.
There you go. Okay. This drug's warning state not to be used by heart patients, so I'm not using it. I increased my Remite dose to the max, and I've been on Remag at max for a year plus. What is your opinion? Will the iodine in Remite stimulate my thyroid enough?
It should. I mean, if the thyroid is low on the Remite, I don't know if I have the timing correct there. Is your thyroid testing low even though you've been taking the 2 teaspoons of Remite?
It doesn't sound like he said he increased it. It doesn't sound like he has been doing that. So, Dave,
right.
Yeah, clarifying. Yeah, okay, very good.
Yeah, the Remite should do the trick. It certainly helped me and probably hundreds of others now who've been using it. And look at with the low thyroid, if you're trying to slow your thyroid down, in the total biology sense, are you trying to do too much? Are you trying to slow down your timing so that you can get more done? So just be aware of timing issues so that you're not kind of creating that, very unconsciously. But we all should take responsibility for whatever happens to us. And that's not a negative thing or something to put pressure on us, but just to realize that the body is a genius. It's taking cues from us in the way it reacts. So we got to figure out what we're doing to not necessarily create our symptoms, but what are we doing that makes our body respond with symptoms. And, with the coronary artery disease, maybe still have symptoms, then I go right to the Realign and the RNA drops, get on everything because you've got the minerals that are giving you the building blocks, and your body is revved up with the magnesium, and it wants more. Your body wants more, and the more is from the RNA drops, and they can really do so many things. It was great, Ginny, hearing Ion's description of customer service RNA drop effect. So hopefully you heard that, Dave. So Reline and RNA drops on top of the Remite and Remag.
Very good. Garrison in Kansas says, can you speak to the epidemic of cardiac mitral valve problems? Do you know what might be causing that? Is that magnesium deficiency? What do you think about that?
Well, it's almost as if everything is epidemic these days, and partly it's because they're testing for it more, and also it can be a magnesium deficiency, and it's simply because the the mitral valve, right? The mitral valve is like a little Pope's hat. It's just a TP. It's two lobes, two sections create this valve. And if you don't have enough magnesium or proper amounts of magnesium in balance with calcium, that valve will either be too tight or it can even be too loose. And it's just basically physiologic. Any muscle in the body is going to be negatively affected by magnesium deficiency, including the heart valve. So yes, magnesium deficiency is responsible for the epidemic of cardiac mitral valve prolapse.
Excellent. All right. My gosh, Carolyn, that was a big whack of information right there, and we still haven't even touched the mailbag, so I think we need to get on that. Yes?
Yes, let's do a few. I managed to work, it looks like I worked through 6 of them in preamble. So number 7 is someone was searching my OOV for lupus. Said she found nothing, but it's under autoimmune disease. Now what she's asking is she has all sorts of symptoms. Final diagnosis is lupus, biopsies of lumps all over her back. She's now on prednisone to counter the pain of lupus. It's helping. It's a 35-year-old woman that this person is trying to help, trying to hand her a lifeline, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, basically, autoimmune diseases are when the body's attacking itself. It doesn't attack a healthy self, and usually what makes the self appear unhealthy is yeast overgrowth. And then the yeast toxins cross-react with body tissues, and then the body's immune system attacks the tissues and creates one of these, multitude of autoimmune diseases. Achalasia, and has been helped by magnesium. This is a practitioner saying, I have a client in my spa who's having surgery in August for this condition. And achalasia, it's a condition where the muscle, I told her to stop using that word, or her doctors were going to treat her like she was crazy, which they were doing. If you say, I just can't stand this is killing me, I just can't live with this, they're going to be afraid for your sanity, and they are going to put you on antidepressants and sleeping pills and all the rest of it. So be really aware how you approach your doctors. They're just looking for the cues to be able to medicate you. So she says, I went on vacation with my family. I was stunned at how well I felt while I was away, and then stunned again when things went downhill shortly after my return. I tried to analyze what was so different. A perfect response, analyze what was different. And the one thing I didn't have while I was away was my usual morning smoothie. This is a vegan whole food nutritional shake with 20% of the RDA of calcium, to which I add a cup of almond milk, which has 30% RDA calcium. I realized that during my time away, my calcium intake was quite a bit lower than it was at home. So is that possible that my magnesium level is so low that even calcium intake from food may possibly be too high at this time. And I said, yep. I'd say I have this happen to me when I buy my quart of yogurt once a month and eat it in a few days. My heart palpitations come back if I don't take more magnesium. So that's what's happening to you. Take more Remag or less calcium to reach a balance point. After a year or two, you'll be more saturated and not need as much magnesium, but for now, you do need it. So I never say to people, oh, take this in a week, you'll feel better. I mean, if you've been years getting sick, then it's going to take you time to get totally better. But usually it's within the first weeks or months that people do feel that they're on the right track. So, and that's what you want to know, that you're on the right track. Here's a question about pregnancy. I wanted to give you a quick magnesium story. Recently, my wife, who's pregnant with our second child, went to see her pregnancy doctor for a checkup. My wife already does not think very highly of him, but he asked her what supplements she was taking. She told him she was taking magnesium, and he told her she should stop taking magnesium because you get enough from your prenatal vitamins. And there's a expletive, and he says, it's just insane how so many people will blindly trust medical advice from the establishment like this. And that's true. You really have to do your own research using my information, of course, to make it easier on you and find out what's beneficial for you. This person wrote to Ginny, I'm wondering if Dr. Dean is familiar with the science of nutritional balancing. This is headed up by ARL, Hair Mineral Test Labs, under the supervision of Dr. Paul Eck, ECK. I'm on a program like this, and it involves rebalancing minerals. I was told by my practitioner that I could supplement extra magnesium, but because I am what is called a mixed oxidizer, there's concern about me taking too many B vitamins outside the supplements they have given me specially tailored. I'm referring to Realign, which has the B vitamins. I'm just wondering if Dr. Dean has talked with people who are on these programs, if she thinks it's a good program, et cetera, et cetera. She says, I don't have years to lose, as she has a condition that's degenerative like ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, though not quite as severe. She's losing function in one of her legs, et cetera, et cetera. So I said, yes, there are so many ways of looking at health. It can be very confusing because we have access to all the different options now on the Internet. I said, I don't go along with hair analysis or defining people as either fast or slow oxidizers. A hair analysis is 3 months old at the time the hair test is read, and the answers are never cut and dried or consistent. As for fast and slow oxidizers, I think oxidation depends on magnesium levels. And without being able to reach therapeutic levels of magnesium, because the magnesiums used in treatment by these groups become laxative, then yes, your oxidation is out of balance. Many people in redox medicine are now saying that magnesium far surpasses vitamin C in its therapeutic effects. As for the Bs, they are a way of manipulating the rate of oxidation. But I say sufficient magnesium and methylated Bs balance the rate of oxidation, and you don't have to manipulate it. I just don't think it's as complicated as Eck and his colleagues make it out to be. I say the same thing to people on drugs as I do to people on complicated supplement programs. Do the complement formulas, which gives our genius body the basic building blocks to work through most health issues, and if symptoms remain after the basics are taken care of, then do the fine-tuning and expensive testing. So what do you think of that, Ginny? That's a new bunch of words that I haven't said before.
That's right. Well, it's amazing how you come up with new stuff every week. But as you said earlier, we are getting into more and more symptoms, and people are becoming more and more perplexed also as the environment changes and also as people get more aggravated and stressed out. And as, medicine just gets more frustrated and doesn't know how to deal holistically with the body. This is, I think it's just going to continue this way. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes me think of that book, The Lucky Years. I mean, how obnoxious to talk about the luck that people should feel from being able to have all their blood tests and blood pressure and everything data mined so that they can figure out what drugs to give you. I mean, it's just so obnoxious that they don't regard your diet and your supplement intake as having any influence on your body parts at all.
Right. Well, exactly. They don't regard you. You're just data for their fodder and just more churning and spinning for their thing. They don't even know who you are. They have no idea what it feels like to have the experience of not being able to control your body. And feeling absolutely helpless and not being able to get anything. They just want to, like I said, just see you as a number. So it's horrible. And you're not lucky at all. Yeah, it's terrible. It's just awful.
Yeah, there's another paragraph that I just thought of in my blog about the unlucky years. So I say, in the lucky years, the author enthused about a new high-tech test called VirScan, which can identify more than 1,000 strains of viruses from 206 species, reflecting the entire human virome from one drop of blood. He says, the application of this type of test will be astounding. We've long suspected that viruses may contribute to chronic ailments, such as heart disease, asthma, and autoimmune diseases. So I say, don't be surprised when VirScan is used to promote hundreds of vaccines to prevent chronic ailments while exposing people to mercury, aluminum, and RNA fragments from viral particles. I'm afraid the love affair of allopathic medicine with drugs is never going to end. A certain segment of the population will keep the myth alive, and that drugs are the cure they are looking for. So we're seeing this. I mean, the number of vaccines that are coming to the fore are just, it's just stunning. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, it's horrifying. Yep.
Yeah. So that was VirScan. And can I read some more mailbag?
Yes, and we have some questions on the chat, too. So just whenever, we'll get to those, too.
Okay. We'll go there right after this one. It's 38 minutes after the hour. Recently diagnosed hypothyroid based on my symptoms, even though my numbers were normal. The doctor also had me check my hormones, including cortisol. That's normal. I know there's something amiss because I've gained 20 pounds in 2 years, losing hair, losing underarm hair, fatigue, brain fog, low body temperature, cholesterol of 300, the list goes on. She's afraid, she says, to start the Synthroid based on what she's read, doesn't want to be on it for life. She said, I know you can't diagnose me, but I want to know how successful your regimen has been for hypothyroidism. So, yes, it's definitely helpful, but she goes on. I did start taking the supplements on the 25th. I'll start the RNA drops tomorrow. Haven't felt any other difference other than, I think she said the fatigue is lifting. She's doing a coffee enema, taking bentonite, caprol, and psyllium for the yeast, keeping her fingers crossed. And I said, your story sounds so like so many other women who have all the symptoms of low thyroid, weakened adrenals, low sex hormones, stress, yeast overgrowth, yet there are no tests to prove it. Most doctors say come back when you feel worse and maybe the test will show something and we can put you on drugs. And with the Remite, I told her I personally came off my Armour thyroid, read the Remag and Rebite books. It's all described there. It does take time to build up minerals from years of depletion. There may even be things that have improved, but you're looking in the mirror every day, seeing your hair diminishing. It's hard to be confident that you're on the right track. So read, listen to the radio show, listen to the archives, see how the pieces of your health puzzle come together with the completement formulas and yeast detox. So that's the total body meltdown. And nothing to measure. The doctor says tests look normal, but, we'll put you on this synthetic thyroid just in case. So there are definitely safer options with the completement formulas. Okay, over to you, Ginny.
Absolutely.
And yes.
Yeah, especially when the test says there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
That's just... that's just crazy. It's like, well, there's nothing here, but take a drug anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can't think about it. All right, let's see. Where are we here? Nancy from our good friend from Portland. Is taking in iodine like with Remite or some other source detrimental to someone with Hashimoto's thyroiditis? That doesn't make sense to me, but a person I spoke to recently insisted she couldn't take in iodine as it would be worse for her condition. I don't know if her naturopath said that or something that she read. Just wondering, Nancy.
Right. If you Google iodine and Hashimoto's, you will hear the medical establishment telling you to avoid it because it might stir things up, irritate the thyroid more. Well, Google iodine, thyroid, and selenium because this is part of the chain of reactions that happens in the thyroid. It's not that you take iodine and it makes hormone. No. You take iodine, it makes a chemical that then requires selenium to go to the next step. And then that requires another mineral, and then something else happens, and there's a whole chain reaction that requires actually the 9 minerals in Remite. So if you're taking iodine, you have to take selenium. And instead of leaving people to wonder, well, how much of this should it take, and to take, 9 different bottles of minerals, with the knowledge and information I've gained over the years, I put the 12 minerals in Remite in the proper proportions that relate to most people's symptoms and relate to our environment. For example, I don't have that much copper in there because people are suffering copper overload because of all the copper piping in the water supply, and maybe copper IUDs. There's too much zinc and copper, throw zinc and copper out of balance. There's so much going on. So I put in a small amount of copper because we need copper. We still need copper. Copper may be toxic, but it's not. The copper outside irritating tissues. It's not so much the copper inside the cells where you need it. So it's not about, iodine being toxic as much as iodine needing other minerals in order to fulfill its mandate to make thyroid hormone. But at the same time, I absolutely do not believe in the high-dose iodine therapies that came about by using iodine for the treatment of breast cancer and then kind of extended to everything else, which leaves people, a certain percentage of people, I think, having problems with the imbalance of thyroid minerals. So there.
Very good. Carolyn, I think I have a lovely surprise for you. I think we are going to be visited via telephone by one of our very fun friends from way back. Hello, area code 310. Are you there?
Yes, I'm
here.
Oh, I recognize you. I recognize that. A little.
Okay, well, now I'm 2 years older now.
Yes.
Okay.
Which makes you what?
Who said what? Who's talking?
Just
Who's
tell
talking, Carolyn, Ginny, or Ruth?
Ruth. It's Ruth. How old are you now, Ruth?
I was 92 in June.
Do you still have a boyfriend?
No.
No. He couldn't keep up with you.
Yeah, he's in a nursing home now.
Oh, it's not funny, Bob.
Well, you couldn't put him on magnesium or anything? He didn't go for it?
I didn't try because, never mind. I want to ask some questions.
No, you go over and see him, give him some Remag.
Yeah, but Bob...
He's in New York. I'm in California. Okay.
Yeah. Bob
Doctor?
Yes, go
I've
ahead.
been asking you about Ruth for a long time.
I know.
Said, where's the woman who's 92? Used to call in every week, or 90, 91. I've been on your radar for a year, right, Carol?
That's right. Yeah, he's missed you.
Yeah, I'm right, Doc.
That's my new boyfriend. You watch out, Carolyn.
Yeah.
There I am.
You never underestimate the power of these elderly ladies.
Yo, you guys been around the block 100 times, I know.
Okay, Bob, mute yourself.
Now, this is what happened. I stopped. I have a problem with the dosages.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what goes wrong, but if I try to raise up the amount of magnesium I take, I get horrendous cramps. Nothing like I had when I was lacking magnesium.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I've tried. I shifted. I haven't taken any Remag in a long time. Sometimes I still have some Relight, and I take that sometimes. But I take Calm with calcium. So I would take it about, if I'm threatening to get some cramps, I'll take a heaping teaspoon of Calm with calcium. But it isn't what I'm sure that I need. My minerals are all seem to me to be a little messed up. Now, I take a lot of supplements, and I haven't used my RNA drops, never. I have some other stuff from you I never used. So they're sitting in the refrigerator, and I want to start doing all of that because as I was trying to convince somebody else to do your program, I realized I'm supposed to do it.
Well,
and I don't know what goes wrong if I take a bit.
You already explained it. You already explained it in what you said. You're not taking enough of the Relight. It's now called Remite. We had to change the name. And you do need some extra calcium. So it's a matter of taking starting with your quarter teaspoon of Remag, your quarter teaspoon of Remite, and instead of waiting for the cramps, do take the Calm and the calcium, but maybe just take a level teaspoon of Calm and calcium every day. It's when you stop and start and stop and start. The body wants you to just take a certain amount every day regularly to slowly build up. And also, some sea salt in your water would be important. So that's what I'm thinking is just get on a regimen where you do the quarter of Remag, quarter of Remite, a teaspoon of Calm, mix it all up together in a liter of water, sip it through the day, and see how you do for 1 week. And then maybe increase the Remag and Remite by another quarter and keep with the 1 teaspoon of Calm and calcium. And do that for at least 1 week and see if you can just slowly sneak up on it. Because I think you were low in calcium. You were taking just the Remag without the Relight. You weren't getting enough calcium, and you were getting calcium deficiency cramps.
Can I take, well, no, I have 2 of those little RNA drops.
Right.
I think one of them is missing one drop. That's what I tried once. They're in the refrigerator a couple of years now. If they're still good, can I try those?
Well, what we'll do is I'll get Ginny, and Ginny would love to do this, send you a free new bottle of the RNA drops. And it's very thick now, so what you'll do is pour out one of your other RNA drops bottles, put that in a big jug, and water your plants with it. And Ginny will go through this with you about diluting that sample bottle, but we'll send you a free bottle so that you can start properly. And then you're just going to take 2 drops a day of the RNA drops.
And the Reline, I take that once in a while. See, I didn't realize it's got to be consistent. I take so much other stuff that I thought maybe that other stuff is messing it up. Of course, I take something for my thyroid. I have a lot.
Right.
I take 3/4 of a grain of Nature-Throid and 1/4 grain of Synthroid. I don't know why. I
know, I know kind of in my head what list you have because everybody's been there. And, what we're saying is, if you can consistently take your complement formulas, you can get off a lot of those things. But, and maybe that's part of, why you weren't doing as well because you're taking a lot of supplements that your body doesn't really need anymore. We can, Ginny can walk you through this a little bit when you're ready to start weaning off some of these things. But, yes, the first step is to get consistent with the complement formulas. We don't like you to stop anything before starting the complement formulas because that throws things off. So just keep taking what you're taking, start the complement formulas, and then you'll slowly cut back.
Yes, ma'am. I thank you. Okay, so I was already on my way to Hawaii to see if you can make me better.
Isn't that sweet?
On my 90th birthday, I figured, okay, I can discard everything past, and now I'm going to have 12 more years of absolutely wonderful life. And it didn't work out like that. And I want that,
Okay, well, we've had 2 years of experience with thousands of people, and we know what to tell you very concisely. Okay, so you keep in touch with Ginny. You keep in touch with Ginny and me, and we'll work with you directly. Okay.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Glad to hear your voice.
Thank you. And you can phone up Bob and talk to him anytime.
I was trying to behave myself. I didn't say goodbye to Bob.
I know.
I'm waiting for you to get out so I can say something. I'm not allowed to speak.
I'm going to get I put him on mute. I'm going to get your phone number. Can Bob give you a call? Because I'm sure he'd love to talk with you.
Not necessarily.
Bob is going to tell me all about Ion. Is that his name?
That's right.
Their name. It's not a he. It's a they. You don't even know. You've been out of touch for 2 years.
Yeah, but but I've been into all those Eastern things. Is he also Eastern?
No, he is the environment.
See, I'm sorry. I opened up this can of worms.
Is he a form of Abraham?
Abraham is a junior piker compared to Ion is the environment of heaven itself that's come forth to create. Even that's a crazy statement. But no, it's a wow. I could take time to explain that. But
Carolyn won't let him.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to. Call in on Saturday. We can talk to Ion.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sunday morning. Right now it's Sunday morning.
Yeah, Ion shows up Sunday morning. Yeah, your new church. Okay, good. Thank you so much, Ruth. It's great to hear from you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Carolyn, bye. I knew, Carolyn. I said, where is I thought it was Paige or something. It's Ruth.
It's Ruth.
And the one who had a boyfriend. And I said, where is she? We haven't heard from her a year or two.
I know.
Here she was in the abyss, spiraling off. Now, is it true? we can say that you can do the remag and that, the remite and that, and after a year or two you're doing well. Then you got to go to the drops. You might get to a stultified cul-de-sac, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you got to realize, no, you got to take a further plunge, get off all your stupid vitamins and other stuff.
Yeah.
That's probably what's going to happen, right? You agree with
that's what's happening, and that's what Ginny sees all the time. That's what I see, and that's where, like I said to Ruth, we know exactly what to tell you. We know what you've been through.
Yeah, and we know you're going to get to a cul-de-sac because you're supposed to get to the RNA drops. That's the real amazing stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
People, they don't want to get affected by RNA drops right away. You know, they just want to get fixed up. Remag makes sense. It works. And then after a couple of years, you might have problems start happening because you have to go beyond the remag.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, we've got a couple more minutes, Ginny. Yeah.
Okay, let me just tell you, we heard from Margaret, and this is what she said. A big hello to you, Carolyn, Bob, and Ginny. Thank you, Carolyn, for all your advice. Bill went to the doctor, and that clot in the leg is not a problem anymore. He found one above the knee, not urgent, but we are going for an ultrasound. The doctor also gave Bill a prescription for compression socks, and as you suggested, we are spraying Remag on any needed area on the leg. It is amazing the difference in the leg. So thankful. I tell everyone to Google Dr. Carolyn Dean for answers. I think I read in one of your newsletters that magnesium keeps blood not too thick nor too thin. I read that just the day I needed to. Thank you so much. Love to you. Hearts and flowers to all.
That's Margaret and Bill in Canada, another couple in their 80s who, you know, their lives turned around.
Yes. You know, the guy came out and talked to us, enjoyed our laughing. I thought his name was... I thought that was Jesse. So I was calling him Jesse. I see on the chat. He's Casey, capital K, capital C. Okay, very good, Casey.
Yeah. Also, Ange typed in, he said, I've listened to your 2013-14 archive about vision and cataracts, and I'm wondering, are there any recent testimonials?
I
thought we got one the other day, didn't we? I have a bad to look. I will look. Ange, I'll send it to you. I know Ange and his email, and I mean, I'd like to put it in for the record, but I think we got somebody who just typed in, I don't know. I've got to find it. So I think there's something. Oh, yeah, here it is. I just found it. Da-da-da. I don't know if you remember, but I inquired if you had any customers with glaucoma and whether or not they had any results or experiences with the RNA drops. My recent appointment with my optometrist showed improvement on my visual field test and no mention of further cataract development as he did during my appointment last year, I did as you and Dr. Dean suggested, and I've been using RNA drops as a daily eye wash.
Ginny, did you answer Garrison's question from Kansas? I missed that.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yep, we did. Yep.
And Casey's asked, what? Yeah, Casey, we're also on Sunday morning at 7 a.m. in the morning, Saturday night and Sunday morning.
On achieveradio.com. Yeah. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Ginny. Thank Bob. Thank you for coming back, Ruth.
Yes, we love Ruth. We love everybody.
Thank you, Ginny. Thank you, Dr. Dean.
Thank you, Bob.
You've been listening to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Till next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish.
AchieveRadio.com